In my last video I mentioned a triple bottom in NIO and a 66% chance that NIO may actually break out to the bullish side of this pattern. Luckily this is what happened and we got a juicy spike in green here. It's looking good that this day will even end green as well. So on top of the macroeconomical trends and the catalysts that I mentioned in the last video, I think we also have some fundamental changes to NIO, at least from a investor's perspective, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video and also give you my perspective on the next months. So let me show you a big reason why I think investors have become bullish on NIO again.
For the past couple of years, we at NIO wanted to create the most technologically advanced vehicles that add real value to the lives of our users. But on top of this, we are also on a pursuit for beauty and perfection. This is the essence of our idea of being driven by design. When we discussed the briefing for the first time with the product and design teams, we agreed that ET7 was going to be our most technologically advanced vehicle to date. It would have to have the latest in autonomous driving sensors and the next generation in-car technology, but also our most visually striking. The team and I wanted to reimagine what a premium car should be, both inside and out, to create a modern and dynamic vehicle fitting for the age of autonomous driving. In essence, we wanted the perfect sedan. Everything we design at NIO must fulfill 4 key criteria. It must be pure, human, progressive, and sophisticated. This is our design DNA and the foundation of any NIO product. ET7 is the first car we have designed that embodies all those qualities fully, but I wanted to add something else. When I think back to the iconic cars of the 70s, they were such clean and refined designs. The shape of the cars was so clear that if you closed your eyes, you could still draw them. I wanted to give the ET7 this simpler, clearer, and bolder silhouette. The X-Bar has been a key design feature across the NIO range. For ET7, we simplified it down even further to its purest expression, so it perfectly fits to our design language. To keep these fluid lines and not interrupt the contours of the car, we've seamlessly integrated the 33 sensors that power Aquila, NIO's autonomous driving system. At every opportunity, we've tried to keep the exterior as refined as possible, from the flush automatic door handles to the sweeping crystal-like tail lamps. Even our frameless windows offer an uninterrupted view. When it came to the interior, we wanted to design the cabin around the concept of a second living room, so we simply treated it like one, because we want to provide our users with a feeling of a home when being on the road. The perfect living room is a balance of a few key elements. First off, you need natural light. The long, panoramic sunroof acts like a skylight, bathing the space with light. Secondly, we ensured, like you would at home, that the larger items sat well within the space. The seats, dashboard, and center console are all generous, but the cabin still feels spacious. The result is a sophisticated mobile living space, ready for the changing demands of the autonomous driving age. Finally, we've been selective and curated in the design process to give the cabin a sense of comfort, calm, and distilled purity. The inbuilt invisible air vents provide a seamless, uncluttered eyeline with a precise air out direction and a fully controllable atmosphere. The clean lines are accentuated by our intelligent waterfall lighting, which allows you to tailor the experience for every driving condition. We've scrutinized every detail in the ET7, especially the ones a passenger would interact with most. The ET7 is built with 14 carefully selected sheets of Karun, a unique and highly sustainable rainforest rattan. Each piece celebrates a touch point, providing a striking detail and a warm organic texture to the cabin. When all these elements come together, the ET7 is the purest articulation of our design DNA and the result of a long road towards the pursuit of perfection. This isn't just a huge stride forward for autonomous vehicles. It's our answer for the car that is ready for tomorrow. In my eyes, it's the perfect sedan.
So we all knew how the ET7 is going to look like, but now with the Shanghai Auto Show, they also officially revealed the production car, how it's going to look like, not only from the outside, but this time also from the inside. And this has generated lots of buzz. It's fair to say that kind of the Shanghai Auto Show became the NIO Auto Show. For instance, if you look at this video of a vlogger in China, he basically says like this year he's gonna scrap on the BMW and Mercedes stuff and just go straight to the next generation electric vehicles.
今年经过奔驰、宝马、奥迪的展台，觉得都不想进去，因为新势力、新能源太多新车、太多东西可以玩了，而且非常的上头，味非常的冲。相比来说，再看这种奔驰、宝马、奥迪展台，觉得淡而无味啊。
And given the fact how beautifully and next level the ET7 appears here in this almost Apple-like presentation, I think this kind of mood or perception even was now quite more noticeable. And that not only to Chinese vloggers like him or Chinese customers who've been visiting the fair, but also the international press. So most notably, I saw this German newspaper Süddeutsche writing about NIO rocking the Shanghai Auto Show. And they said, quote, not much to see from BMW, Daimler and Volkswagen. Instead, a Chinese brand is confident and they have an office in Munich. So they go on and describe like how the press conference shortly after 9 starts with BMW in Shanghai. The group vice president comes onto stage and talks about how important China is, and then shows this BMW with oversized radiators where, I mean, nobody knows why they are useful. And I mean, even Li Bin looked at them and was like, well, kind of puzzled here in this photo. And seemingly the same thing happened for Volkswagen. And the author of this article noticed that, well, the same thing basically happened also to the Volkswagen booth, where nobody from the media or who was listening to the presentation was actually asking any questions. And the same thing for Mercedes actually, where after a video greeting, a Maybach rolls in, which is not even an electric car. And for me, it was quite interesting to observe this kind of media feedback, but also in general of the public, because just 1 week before, the part of the reason why NIO has sold off, it was about a fear of competitors now entering the stage and starting to sell more electric cars, and thereby kind of a question mark around NIO's growth targets for the future. But in reality, what has happened is that on one hand side, the Chinese users are praising the design and the looks and the feeling of the ET7 in comparison to the Mercedes EQS. And on the other hand, we now have really positive perception for the new market entry of NIO in Europe, with some rumors about that the car might be even priced higher than an Audi, for instance, in Europe, and thereby having quite this premium appeal. And surely these kind of marketing clips that I would say, once again, are really like an Apple presentation. We had the same feedback actually around NIO Day, that people are getting really hyped up about such kind of presentations and what to expect. People are talking about it. This is a little bit like watching Apple presentations like 10 years ago. And all of this is also possibly the reason why Li Bin in an interview was actually really bullish around NIO's growth targets, and also listen carefully how he talks about the competition.
I welcome competition as that quickens innovation. We are seeing many new companies entering the market, but this is a very long-term market. I don't think it's a short-distance race, but a long-distance running. We are very confident in long-term competition.
This year, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, they're all coming out with their own electric vehicle brands. Is this the year, 2021, where those legacy car makers really make an impact on the EV space?
We see legacy brands launching competitive products. Still, they are latecomers in the smart EV field. They still have much work to do. Besides them, we are also watching for big technology companies such as Xiaomi, Huawei, and Baidu entering the market. We need to see the market holistically.
So you can see his smile on the face when he talks about the legacy car makers. He knows exactly that the car that they're now bringing out is actually state of the art. And although there are other electric cars coming from the likes of Ford, Audi, which is going quite big now as well, and Mercedes, for instance, now, but those cars are really on another level. Most of these cars even don't have even the sensor suite that the E27 will have for the autonomous driving features. But also, if you look inside the car, I mean, this sleek design and just this core know-how and knowledge about software, which can be clearly reflected on how well the interface is for once designed, that they have the over-the-air software updates and all of that, with which, of course, other car manufacturers at some point have to catch up with if they can, if they have the software abilities in-house at some point. But that will take also actually years until this is comparable with what NIO has in the market today. And NIO has done all of this R&D in the latest year, so that's now what they can capitalize on. And of course, they will also not stand still. Quite on the contrary, actually, I think the Chinese will be very quick in terms of iterations and also bringing new features, functionalities, and innovation onto the street. So yes, NIO really owns the Auto Shanghai show. In my point of view, I think it was a big boost in investors' confidence, seeing how NIO kind of plays out with the competitors there. And on that note, a little side story happened around Tesla, and of course I'm also invested in Tesla, and there was a protest and that made quite the buzz. Actually, even some funny memes floated around on the Chinese internet, and my personal view is that this will not have a long-lasting impact on Tesla. It is clearly the fault of the driver and not the company in this case with this accident. I think Tesla can clearly prove that with the driving data, but it is of course a PR issue. So that's also, in my point of view, why Tesla has chosen and opted to actually kind of calming the waves here a little bit, and says like wants to take out the steam a little bit of this conflict here, because frankly, of course, for Tesla, China is a very important market. But on the other hand, Tesla has also a really good image in China as well. And many Chinese clearly see Tesla as the technology leader. And so they have a good image and they just need to worry that they don't lose that image. What I think could have a bigger impact actually on Tesla's image is the accident with Autopilot in the US that has happened, which has caused 2 casualties. Once again, here, I do think Tesla has all the proof. I can show that it wasn't Tesla's fault. Instead, the owner did something wrong there. But Chinese are very cautious around security issues, safety issues and such. So that may have a longer lasting impact on the image of Tesla's tech features as well. The take rate for FSD, the self-driving functionalities for the Autopilot of Tesla in China is quite low. So Tesla needs to work on this issue if they want to satisfy their users in China and also improve on those metrics. Now back to the chart, where is NIO heading? It seems like there is a resistance around $42, so I'm not sure if NIO can break through that, but as mentioned, we have many catalysts coming up with NIO earnings earlier than usually. I think around the earnings they will also talk about the second factory that they're building and the capacity, as I've mentioned those catalysts in my last video, as well as official news around the market entry to Europe. So that could well bring the stock back into this range here. But of course, this also depends a little bit on the overall markets. So Nasdaq is trading at all-time high regions here. So that means in case that we get actually with this double top here, a correction in Nasdaq once again, that could potentially also send NIO lower again and keep it down for a while. And we have the potential bad news around Q2 and NIO's implications of the chip shortage, as pointed out in this interview here with Li Bin.
The chip shortage significantly impacted the entire automobile market. As our quantity is relatively small, we are confident we can weather the situation despite many challenges. We hope the supply improves in the second half of the year, but the second quarter will be very challenging.
What are the steps specifically that you're putting in place to address that chip shortage?
我们组建了一个专门的 team 每天会去
We built a team which oversees the entire supply chain to monitor which supply will affect our capacity. I think the mechanism is good. We started this last year, and it ran well in the first quarter.
So how's that looking now for the next couple of weeks and months? So on the one hand side, I mentioned like the macroeconomical trends are now more positive for Chinese stocks in general, but also for NIO. They still have the issue about the Q2, and the earnings could have some bad implications. So that's still a barrier to take. But on the fundamental side, it looks like NIO is quite bullish here with the management on the outlook of meeting the sales numbers. And what has become clear is that NIO seems to be positioned well within the Chinese market with the competitors launching, but at the same time poised for being quite successful in Europe in my point of view. So these are the next steps to watch. So if the overall markets allow, if we don't have overall correction, I think it would also help NIO to stabilize the stock price where it is now. And then Q3 and Q4, this is where investors should get excited about the stock once again. All right, that's it. Click the subscribe button, notification on so that you don't miss on my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like. And then next video possibly on another stock as well as on the topic of autonomous driving. Have a great Friday and bye.